To make this juicy, delicious shashlik, we'll need 2 kilograms of pork. The lipstick. I covered it with a napkin, so the flies, as they say, wouldn't take a liking to this meat. This is the neck. The neck is the most delicious meat, which most likely is only comparable to the neck. If anyone disagrees, please write in the comments. Some people also like chicken and lamb. Well, even though I was born in Kazakhstan, I'm not really a fan of lamb. Yeah, you can criticize me for that. I'm taking pork. Pork neck? We'll also need 2 onions. How do you say it correctly? Tomatoes like this. Tomatoes in their own juice. For example, if you have 2 kilograms of meat right now, a jar of tomatoes like this is enough for 2 kilograms of meat. Kefir. We're taking kefir. Why did I take buttermilk? It's almost the same as kefir we have in Germany. This is the consistency of 1%, a little fat. Well, it will work fine for this recipe. If anyone has kefir, like Linka kefir, you can use it. I use this kind of buttermilk. Buttermilk kefir. Well, of course, salt, pepper. We definitely use the kind with peppercorns that need to be ground. Why? Let me explain. If you use powdered pepper, you won't taste it afterwards. At least in Germany, we sell powdered pepper, but it's not very spicy. Whoa! But this kind of fused granules like these, you can taste it very well. The spiciness is incredible. Well, salt, as they say, to taste. And the most secret ingredient, if anyone is watching me from Germany, there is this one in the globe pickle. Cucumber. If you don't have this cucumber brine, then buy some pickled cucumbers. You'll eat them later. You'll need this brine. Yes, right. Let's get started. First and foremost, you need to cut the meat. Make sure to cut into normal sizes. Why? Because if you make the pieces thick, meat won't cook through. If you make them small, it will burn. Usually, as I do, I've already got a lot of experience marinating meat like this. Here are 2 fingers. Well, I don't know, your fingers are as thick as mine. Well, I don't know. Here are 2 fingers about this size. This should be a cube, as they say, for 1 bite. That's it. But no smaller and no larger. Make sure to make even cubes like this so that your meat doesn't fall into the coals later. Here, I'm putting 2 fingers. Okay, we'll need this later. 2 fingers. I'm putting them here, roughly, and cut off the meat. We got a piece like this. Then we take it about 2 fingers in size and cut it into a piece. Again, I'm explaining this for people who are just starting to grill shashlik, don't really know anything, but want to grill it. Those who have already grilled it, they already make it themselves and in large chunks and grilled. It's a matter of taste. Some people like it. Oh my god, that's their business. Oh yeah, FK. But I wouldn't risk it. As I'm a medical professional, I can also say that pork can contain all sorts of parasites. So be careful. Watch your health. We got a cube like this. When we put it on a skewer, it needs to be well marinated, as they say. And the best thing is, here's the cube. In fact, my family has asked me many times why I don't make videos about shashlik. Yeah, I haven't had time, but I'm thinking, make something. The marinade really is delicious. really rich. Real rich. By the way, I even took the risk of giving this marinade and this shashlik to my boss at the emergency room where I work. He was so delighted. It was just amazing. He said, "This is terrible. It's so delicious." How did you do it? Well, of course, I didn't tell him the recipe, but I'm telling you. For that, you should probably subscribe to me, yes? To my channel, finally. Let's get to 2,000 already? Yeah, that's the first step. Of course, I've already passed the first step, 1,000. Well, let's go on to 2,000. Keep developing the channel. Go ahead. In general, my channel is about a lot of things. And the video will be out soon in July. I'll be going with my son to a My Chemical Romance concert, and in Italy to Florence. We'll be visiting several cities. Austria, Germany. Yeah, Austria, Germany. And, well, I'll tell you what's going to be very interesting. Follow along. I put a wind screen on the microphone specifically. By the way, it's 37 degrees here. It's very hot, but there's a breeze. The shashlik should be cut into pieces like this, so it cooks through properly. Marinates properly. And how much do you think this shashlik marinated in my oven? Cause it only lasts about an hour. That's all. So if you're going, for example, on vacation, this is the best shashlik for a vacation. A 5-minute break, as they say. A 5-minute break, as they say. In general, when choosing meat, it's best, of course, to look for the meat with veins like these. Then your shashlik won't burn. It will cook better, and it will juicier. Also, why I recommend not in the large pieces is because, firstly, the marinade won't penetrate the meat well. But in pieces like these, it won't burn about 2 fingers width, and it will cook through well. Before cutting, straighten the meat like this and watch how it lays out so that it's easy to cut lengthwise. For example, and don't cut it too fine because it'll just burn. Yes, there's a breeze today, but it's actually wonderful that there's a breeze. It's not that hot anymore with experience. It's just that large pieces don't lead to anything good. The truth is, it just starts to dry out, burn, and the whole shashlik is ruined. Because the coals aren't like they used to be, for example, with wood. Now they have special coals that are very hot. The meat ends up charred, but the ends doesn't cook through. That's it, we've cut the shashlik into pieces like this. What do we do next? Next we'll peel the onion. If the onion is strong, like mine, my advice is don't crush it. Many YouTubers, many bloggers say that you need juice there. This juice, this toshiboshi. Many irime. Spare your eyes. We'll need them later. I tried an onion once. Crush it like this. I'm telling you, I almost lost my eyesight. Although I used special glasses so that nothing got into my eyes. There. But why do you need that? I'll give you another way, a better way. On over. Take an onion and a grinder like this. The best option. If anyone has an electric grinder, that's even better. And cut the onion into strips. It's advisable not to look at it like that so that it doesn't get into your eyes. That's it. Throw in the grinder. Couple of light movements. And we'll have it turned into... And there will also be juice. That's it. Your eyes are protected. The onion is ground. Someone will say, well, not enough onion. Yes, I make the onion separately. Chop it separately. And season it with vinegar. It's delicious when you eat a shashlik with this onion fresh with vinegar, and it makes your mouth water. That's it, we've ground the onion. It's really well ground. With juice, just the way everyone loves it. Pour 2 or 3 onions into a 2 kilogram cup. Next, we take the kefir. We have 500 grams of kefir here. Pour it into our, well, yes, buttermilk. Buttermilk, yes. Here, pour it into our meat. This is also for 2 kilograms. We take 400 grams of tomatoes. Here, you can use 500. I have these in a 400 gram jar. Okay, these are tomatoes in their own juice. Pour it all in here. Next, we take the pepper. We make sure to cover the entire top layer with pepper. Well, a thin layer. We grind it all like this. As you saw, you covered this one, as they say, on top. Yes, Bruno just arrived too. Yes, Bruno, hello. That's enough. Well, in any case, everyone says do it to taste. You too? Yes, chef. Where would we be without you? Okay, salt. We add salt at the end. When the shashlik is already cooked, we add salt. Why? From my observation, salt draws out the liquid and the shashlik is dry. And here's the last thing. This is coriander. The taste of the shashlik depends on coriander. I bought it for the last. 1 spoon is enough. And you say, why this juice? Yes, this brine. And it is precise because of it that the rich flavor of the shashlik comes out. We poured in 500 grams, yes, and added to our shashlik. Yeah. That's all. I never use any vinegar. If you like using vinegar, then go ahead, here's my recipe. And if you like what I do, then follow my recipe. Next, I always use gloves to stir our shashlik. What do I hide in my pocket? Because I have a little bruni. My dog loves to wear gloves. She tears them to shreds. Now the work begins. We mix well, pressing the shashlik together with our hands with salt. There was a story, and I tried using a dough mixer. Well, they're electric dough mixers. Yes, mine burned out, so don't repeat that story with your hands. With your hands, we grind it together, pressing directly onto the shashlik. Squeeze it with your hands so that your brine penetrates the meat. I'm going to, in theory, this is liquid. This inside should be completely absorbed by the meat. Humidity out for well, as much strength as we have. For 10 minutes, we is it like this. Grind each piece with our hands and leave it for an hour. Then an hour later, we come back once again, grind it like this, and that's it. And in half an hour, we can already cook. So, meat, I guess, and when it's ready, I'll show you. Light the coals correctly. Being much as well. How wrong is it that this is how I think, this is how I do it correctly? No, this is how I light the coals, and most likely you will like it too. What's better? Okay, well, me in a second. To light the coals, I use a mug like this one. It's already proven time tested. You pour the coals in and light it. I always light it with dry fuel like this. It burns very well. And literally, well, 2 tablets, which are inside it are enough to light this mug. They use charcoal. Any charcoal you can find. You pour in a full mug. And we take this very, very dry fuel. We put it under the mug. First, of course, we lighted it. And that's it. We wait for the coals to turn red. Then we'll put in the shashlik. You can immediately see that the mug is already heating up, and you can see red coals in the holes there. This is already a sign that the coals are heating up well. But we'll wait a little longer until these coals turn really, really red. And then we'll pour them in. While our coals are preparing, we'll definitely salt the meat. Now, for 2 kilograms, I usually take 1 spoon of salt. We'll add salt, mix it, and put it on the skewers. Our meat is cooked well. Almost all the liquid has been absorbed into the meat. You can see it. It's well mashed. Let me remind you, I mashed the shashlik twice. In total, it took me to cook this shashlik 1 tablespoon of salt. This will be plenty. And now we'll stir it and start skewering it. You always do this before cooking, because when the shashlik marinates, all water comes out of the meat and it becomes less tender than it should be. Well, that's it. We've mixed it thoroughly. Now it should be properly seasoned. My skewers are ordinary. I'd like to buy a little better, of course. I've seen them made somewhere like works of art, but I'll buy that someday. We skewer them so that nothing hangs down. The pieces should be like this. We tear off this, not like this, because later it will turn over and burn. If this happens, then we've removed the shashlik and move it again. This is desirable, because when the shashlik turns over, it will burn on the edges. I don't put anything between these skewers, not onions, or anything like that, but tomatoes or something else, because it will all burn. If you like it burnt, then, as they say, go for it. But I don't do that. We already have it. I always use gloves like these. How about mine? You can look at me. So, the mug is hot, the coals are hot. There's a convenient handle here. Turn it over. And be sure to take this mug somewhere. It's very hot. See how beautifully red the coals turned out. To make it all burn really well, I usually make a mound like this, and then so that every coal is ready and red. Because when another coal burns, the already burnt one starts, and then you get a flame. It's better to gather it like this. It will turn red and white. If you have a fan, you can, of course, fan the flames. I don't have one, so you can use it like this. Yes. Never place the shashlik on red coals. It'll be hot enough, though. The stock will always be hot enough. We'll have enough shashlik for the first batch. You see, this is how the shashlik should be, so it doesn't hang off the stick at all. That'll be the best shashlik ever. It smells amazing even before it's cooked. Wow!
The shashlik turned out absolutely amazing. I recommend this recipe to everyone. And as they say, subscribe to my channel, like it, comment, and see you soon.